All right. Now comes the part of our service that is so enjoyable when we get to avail ourselves of the sharing of others. Our speaker this morning is a longtime friend, a trusted confidant, and she and her husband, Reverend David, are like family to me. We have passed the point of being casual friends. Patty Shaw is a teacher, a healer, an author, a businesswoman. I can't say enough things about her accomplishments because I just think she's an amazing person. She's going to share some fantastic spiritual ideas with us this morning, so let's welcome Patty Shaw to the podium.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope I don't disappoint. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, online. Thank you for inviting me back to speak. It's
My
always
pleasure.
a pleasure for me as well. So today we're going to explore divine timing. And this is a personal exploration for myself, too, personal lesson, because it mystifies me a little bit, and maybe you too. So I'll start with the problem. When life doesn't make sense, we often console ourselves and others with the phrase, well, this just wasn't in, divine timing or in God's timing. They're there now. Sorry. But why? Why are there two clocks? Why are there two sets of timing? Why is there divine timing and my timing? That is always a problem for me because I'm hard-headed and strong-willed and I want things now my way.
I want what I want.
Yeah. But that's really what we're up against, right? The pain we feel when things don't happen when we need them to happen or want them to happen, or worse, things that happen that we don't expect to happen. Doesn't God see how important timing is for us? So I'd like to share a story with you. Another story. Stories are the best teachers. Yep. It demonstrates this divine timing thing perfectly. My friend is a great inspiration to me. Her name is Maggie. So one day, it seems to me, one day she just decided to retire and sell everything and move across the country. I'm like, wow. Okay. So she shared with me her general plan was to retire in March, put her house up for sale in June, find a house in July, and move in September and be settled and ready to do Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas dinner, whatever she felt like. So once her decision was made, she started putting things into motion. She was packing boxes, sorting things, donate, trash, move. But around June, I got the call, pray for me. All the unexpected happenings started showing up. First, her daughter wanted to get married before she moved. Like, this is a very tiny window for planning a wedding. And then her son says, I don't know if I want to move. Well, you don't just move without your kid, right? So that was a problem. And then she had rental property that she needed to sell, and there were legal problems that she did not expect popping up. And then we all know the housing market went nuts and prices went sky high. So she'd laugh and say, yes, it's all in God's timing as long as I'm in my new home by October. We can all roll our eyes, but we've all been there, right? We all need it when we want it and how we want it, right? Well, long story short, she pulled it off. She did sell her properties. She did buy a house. And she will be moving as planned. So was this proof of divine timing, or was it something else? To give you the bigger picture, let's rewind about 2 years, maybe 3. or maybe even before I even knew Maggie. You see, the thing about Maggie is that she, like our friend who saved Simon, has made it a practice to check in with God regularly, especially about the big decisions. Little decisions, but especially big decisions. And she tried her best to keep her mind open to the possibilities and surrendering to her guidance from God. She always made it her intention to be aligned with divine timing. Maggie is a nurse, and during the pandemic, she prayed every day to God, "Is this really where you want me to be? If so, I am here. You can count on me." It was the hardest thing she ever did. But there was no vision. There was no signs. She just knew in her heart that this is where God wanted her to be. So maybe it was the fact that she was working in one of the nation's largest pandemic hotspots, or maybe it was because she was nearing the end of her career. Maggie found herself exhausted and just wanted to live a peaceful life. So when the fires of the pandemic started to ebb, she started to feel that change. The energy was changing. The urgency to stay had passed, and the energy started flowing in a different direction for her. It's interesting, though, because during this time of shifting, she was getting job opportunities, more money, more responsibility, more everything, and something she was really considering. Then all of a sudden, poof, she was retired and putting her house up for sale. I won't tell you that she came through these events easily. That would be a fairy tale, right? Maggie was often fraught with worry and sometimes deeply burdened. The work was difficult and the risk high, and she had to trust God would take care of her. She showed me that aligning yourself with divine timing means setting your ego aside, working diligently to calm your worried thoughts and mind, and stilling your anxious emotions, and really working on faith and trust. It also means being in the world and not of the world. That was a new concept for me too. What does that mean? So to translate, we are not to take our personal burdens and the troubles of the world so deeply into our heart. So let's spend a moment with that idea, the heart. Why is it so important that we don't burden our hearts? And our hearts specifically, because our minds and our emotions take a brunt of beating, right? So when I'm talking about the heart, I'm talking about the heart chakra. So this chakra, this heart chakra, is the seat of our soul. And we need to protect our soul from becoming overwhelmed. And so a burdened soul falls out of rhythm with God's timing because it has begun to identify with the world at large and the timing of the world, which pretty much is chaos, and falls out of timing and synchronicity with God, with the universe. And so in our heart chakra, where we take in the world's burdens, our own burdens, for our soul to experience them, we also have to protect our soul. Here we go. Yes, the soul is naturally aligned with the rhythm of God, the rhythm of the universe. There's an in-breathing, out-breathing that happens with the soul and with God. They breathe together like a symphony, like a dance. They dance together. And we're born with that, but we're also born into this world. And so just like it's difficult to breathe heavy air filled with smoke, it's hard for the soul to breathe when it's overwhelmed with worry and sadness and anger and loss and trauma. It can feel depressed. It can become depressed. It can become paralyzed to take action. This is a spiritual depression. And there is a clear path through this, but you have to change how you live in the world. You have to let your problems go. That's another one. Let your problems go. How in the world do you do that? You have to put them on the altar of God. That takes a lot of faith and trust. Here you go, God. I have some great ideas about how to handle this problem, but so far, not working. And there are no take-backsies. With all your might, you have to say, even pray, I know there is a divine solution to every problem, and they will be dealt with in divine timing, not my timing. For I do not know all. So I am not the best one to decide what needs to happen and when. I can make my wants and desires known to God, but I must be patient. There's another attribute of God, patience. And let things unfold in God's timing, for God loves us all. And God is taking care of all of us. And that's how you unburden your soul. It's not really complicated, but it takes effort. You also have to quiet your mind and stop thinking with your emotions. I know that's not easy to do, but it does lead to spiritual contentment, which means you are better able to handle the pitfalls of life without falling apart yourself. And being in God's timing is a choice. You really can't straddle that fence on this one. You are either in alignment with God's timing or you are resisting it. You really can't experience God's timing when you are in your own ego, pushing your own agenda. I've tested that many times. In fact, I tested it yesterday.
Well practiced.
Yeah, always practicing. But that's what we're taught, right? Make your goal, work your plan, and all of that goes with it. But what they don't tell you is that you could and you probably should check it all out, check the plans out with how it's flowing with the universe. What's my place in the universe? You know, we all ask, what's my purpose? What's my place? That's where you can really check in and tune into God's timing. So I have spiritual teachers, Barbara Martin and Dimitri Moretis. I have mentioned their names before. And they recommend that you both ask God for help and then you look at how well you follow divine guidance. So meditative prayer is when you are asking for help. You spend some time every morning in meditation, praying, and then you check back. How did I do? So for example, maybe you're feeling unloved and it has made it hard for you to be in social situations. In prayer, in meditation in the morning, ask to be filled with love. See how that feels. Just be really patient and quiet. Please fill me with love. How does it feel in your mind? How does it feel in your body? How does it feel in your heart? And then be quiet and let it in. Just let it in. Put your resistance aside. All your reasons why you can't accept love, that's not for today. Just let it in. And then at the end of the day, spend some time in reflection. Ask yourself, how well did I do? Was I able to keep the love that was given to me all day? Or did I slip back into self-pity when I was rejected or had a slight happen? Barbara also teaches us to place our burdens on the altar of God, as I had mentioned. This is an excellent tool. I do it a lot, and it helps me to relax. Because you know how hard it is to say, I got to solve all of this on my own. I don't even know how to do it. And you go on and on. But when you get in that place of just completely fried, stressed out, you don't know what to do, put your troubles on the altar of God. Name them out. I put them in a bejeweled box, a lot like that. I picture that box. I put them in the box and I put them on the altar of God because my problems are precious, right? And then watch for your take-backsies. All right, I took that one back. I took that one back. Okay, I'm going to put it back in the box and put it back on the altar. And just over and over and over again. And that repetition helped me to really let it go. Really let it go. It's so freeing, too. So with these two practices, the prayerful meditation and putting your problems on the altar of God, you are opening yourself to the possibility that there is a bigger plan, a universal rhythm to life, and it's your timing, not God's timing, that's out of sync. You kind of get tuned into that and get the flavor of what that feels like. So the act of cooperating with God's timing is an act of coming back into alignment with the universe, where there is balance and harmony with all of life. In doing this, you will begin to understand that patience is a virtue, and it will save your soul. Living in divine timing is an exercise in releasing your obsession with doing everything on your own. Maggie taught me that, just by the way she lived. Open your mind to the idea that you are not alone, were never alone, and you were never meant to be alone. Unburden your soul by putting your fears and troubles on the altar of God, and then practice getting back in rhythm with the universe. That alone piece is powerful. I am not alone. I was never meant to be alone. So when you find yourself without people in your life, or a special relationship that validates love in your life, close your eyes and ask God to fill you with love. It is a game changer. And when you feel that love flowing into you, it's so much easier to reach out to other people and be loving, and then it just gets the ball rolling. You are not alone anymore. You might find out you have too many friends. So God does see the big picture and knows what you want and what you need. And there is so much more than let go, let God. It's called joining the dance, being a partner, working with what's already there. The universe is balance and harmony, and you are part of it. When your decisions take you out of this balance, you do feel thwarted, isolated, and life is harder. So do everything you can to be brought back into divine timing, and then watch as life begins to make more sense again. Thank you very much for sharing this morning with me. And you're not alone. Call me.